We good, Stephanie?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. All right. Then we'll call the meeting to order. Our March meeting rescheduled to early April. All right.
I'll do it.
We'll start with roll call. Commissioner Mohammed is not with us. Commissioner Kolash is present. Harkin,
Here.
Kadora,
Here.
Priest,
Here.
Lusala, absent. Shots.
Here.
And Miller, absent. And we have a new commissioner, is it Rodriguez. Is that correct? But she is not here. Okay. Okay. All right. Great.
I'll read.
Go ahead, Mark. Thank you.
We meet today in the community of Iowa City, which now occupies the homelands of Native American nations to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homelands of the Iowa, Meskwaki, and Sauk. And because history is complex and time goes far back beyond memory, we also acknowledge the ancient connections of many other indigenous peoples here. The history of broken treaties, enforced removal that dispossessed indigenous peoples of their homelands was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparations.
Thank you. Item 3, report from Police Department's community outreach. We don't have anyone here. Okay. Item 4, approval of meeting minutes. And we have 2 of those. The first is January 27th, and the second is March 3rd. We can approve these together unless anyone has any edits or objections.
No.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All right. Those in favor? Aye.
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 All right, minutes approved. Agenda item 5, public comment for items not on the agenda. Do we have any commenters? All right, you can address the commission for no more than 5 minutes. Commissioners shall not engage in discussion regarding these items. You can go ahead and start with your name and where you're from.
Hello, my name is Tom Martinez. I live in Iowa City. Coming just to introduce myself, I recently started a position with Greater Iowa City, which is the county's Chamber of Commerce and Economic and Community Development Organization. So I joined the team about a month and a half ago as Community and Workforce Development. I won't be attending all these meetings, but I would be, kind of popping in here and there. And I would just, I'd like to introduce myself and to offer up if there's anything that I or Greater Iowa City can be of service to this commission, we would be happy to do so. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Then item 6, correspondence. We have several items here in the packet. Community reading of Martin Luther King's A Time to Break Silence, but that was this past weekend. Was anyone have the opportunity to attend that?
Didn't.
Did not.
Okay. The office is doing the Innovation Safeguard Integrating AI through Psychological Safety on Thursday, April 23rd. Another program on March 6th, Rising to the Challenge, Role Overload and Workplace Imposter Thoughts. That sounds interesting. The Coralville Asian Fest on May 16th. I believe we fund this in part. Next is the powwow, the 29th annual powwow at the University of Iowa, who also received funding from us. And in addition to the actual powwow event, there's a whole programming series on the next page. And I think that is it for correspondence. Stephanie, is there anything else to add? Okay, great. All right, then item 7, a funding request from Film Scene, which is after all the correspondence there in the packet.
I move that we approve this request.
I'll second that.
All right, motion on the table to approve request for funding from Film Scene for the Aquia Ya Latin American Film Festival, celebration reflection of multicultural elements of Latinidad, series of 4 to 6 films, May 1st through the 3rd.
particularly given their budget. I thought their request was rather small, but it was nice to be in that number of supporting this effort.
Mhm.
Other discussion? Because I always like I think film especially is an art form that has a really powerful and way of communicating and really helping us relate to other people's experiences. So I think this is a great event.
I agree. I haven't done my review of our upcoming racial equity and social justice grant requests, but I did check the conflict of interest list, and Film Scene is not one of those that's requesting funds from the conflict of interest list that I can see. So I think it's nice that we know that they're just requesting funds through this mechanism, and I think it's a wonderful initiative to support.
Good. Thank you for checking that list. That thought didn't cross my mind. So, yeah. Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll vote on the motion. All those in favor of approving the funding request of $250 for Film Scene?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. $250 to Film Scene for the Latin Film Festival. Item number 8, Grant Network meeting, which was rescheduled to Wednesday, April 15th. Stephanie, any details on that?
Yes.
What time?
It's at noon.
Yeah, I got it on my calendar.
I'm trying to think of how many commissioners that is. Is that just 3?
My problem is I can't sit at a screen and do it. Can I get printed copies of the requests?
For the
If I'm going to do the,
human rights grant?
yeah, that's not what this is.
No.
Okay.
This is everyone who was awarded a human rights grant last year has been invited to participate quarterly in these meetings.
Got it.
Where they just kind of update one another, network, and meet with commissioners. And that is.
So noon is it at the airport?
Are you and Doug both attending?
I put it on my calendar.
There's a lunch and everything, so I just got to make sure you don't come in, there's not a meal. So I'll send you the menu and mark the menu.
Okay. Anyone else?
And it's at the airport, right? I'll find it.
I already have confirmed when the email was sent. I have confirmed my attendance. Yeah. Okay.
So Stephanie, can you share, what does that make us for confirms from Human Rights Commission? That would be Viana, myself, Doug, and Mark? Yes. Okay.
Nobody else can.
That's all right. I'm busy, guys.
Okay. Okay. Noon at the airport.
I'll actually just send you the invite. It has the address. It
Great.
also make sure to send you the menus, and if you could look at those and get those back to me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Item 9. Special meeting to discuss and recommend the 2026 Human Rights Grant allocations.
So, Mark, this is where you're asking for a hard copy.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. How many do we have? Oh, that's a relief. I mean, it's sort of a relief. When we've had so many more, you always feel good about having many, but 10's manageable.
And what is the deadline for the written review and feedback?
Well, that's a good question. So I wasn't sure. There's been a few commissioners who said they would prefer just to collapse the discussion and recommendation into that meeting on the 28th of this month. Instead of, because if you hold it on the 22nd, then it's like you're here 3 times in April. Whereas if you just come on the 28th with 10 of them, you might be able to kind of have a quick discussion, and it might go quicker than, it hasn't passed, not sure. But so that's kind of what I wanted to know is whether you want to
Okay. Yeah.
a second date, or would you rather just do it on the 28th and just maybe have a 30-minute longer meeting than you normally?
Okay. All right. Good. So let's discuss that option then. Doing our grant recommendations during the regular April meeting on the 28th or during a special meeting on the 22nd. Personally, I'm not able to attend on the 22nd, but I could do the 28th, so I'd be in favor of that. But that's just me, and
With-
by no means do I have to be there.
With 10 organizations, I don't think it would be that much of an extra burden to put on an already existing meeting.
I'm good to go with that.
And we can keep the rest of the agenda light as well, so that we're not here all night. But yeah,
I'm okay with the 28th as well.
with the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's possible I might have to join you all by Zoom, but I'm also okay with the 28th.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And then that's not another meeting in April.
So we're not doing the 22nd.
So not the 22nd. Okay. We'll review the grant applications during our regular April 28th meeting, and we will not meet on the 22nd.
Just maybe set up the 22nd as a goal to get, will that work for you though? To have them evaluate it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do it before I leave the country and make sure I got it done
And if
before I
not,
leave. Yeah.
The way the system's set up, I think even if you did them like Friday or Saturday, I could go in.
It's still okay. Okay.
It's more for the opportunity for the community and to know where they're ranking at.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right. And Stephanie, will you send an email out so that all the commissioners, including those who aren't here,
That I will
get that note?
schedule and also the preferred date to have them all reviewed. And I am still working on the because some of the grant items changed, and so I'm still working on what you'll use to review. But it will basically be what you did last year. It just needs to be updated, and that should be done by Wednesday. So by Thursday, you should be able to go in there. And get those.
Okay.
The other thing that I've heard from some folks, but if anybody knows that they have a conflict with an organization, if they could just let me know. If you have a conflict, that means that you don't participate in the process at all. That I would just need to
So just double checking. So we'll commit to all reviewing by the 22nd and then meeting to agree and review together on the 28th. And then Stephanie, you were willing to share that with those that aren't present tonight about the also reviewing by the 22nd. That's great. Thank you. Would you like me to remake the spreadsheet?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to ever turn somebody down who wants.
Okay. So when I review, I'll make a draft and I'll send it your way. And then if you want to take a look at it and see if that works, it'd be great. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that running total is great. So, Okay. All right, so we're set on the human rights grant for 2026 and those meetings. Item 10, Youth Awards, which will be held this year, Wednesday, May 20th. And that's in the evening, right? 6 o'clock. Hilton Garden Inn. All right.
Grand Ballroom.
Okay.
Hilton Grand.
And to date, the nominations have been kind of slow. So if you know of any great things that youth are doing, either encourage those that are working with them to nominate or nominate yourselves.
Yep. Are we allowed to nominate? Yeah. Okay.
What time did you say, Stephanie? What time?
6 o'clock.
6?
Yeah.
6 p.m.
It's here.
I'm on a couple awards boards, and some you can, some you can't. So I was like, I had to
I just
clarify.
blacked out 6 to 7:30. Is that about right?
I would ask commissioners probably to be there a little sooner.
Okay.
All right.
But you have to absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, moving on to our work group report outs. Item 11. We'll start with transportation. Mark.
Transportation, you have my notes that I'd sent them to Kelsey, Doug, and Stephanie, and I also sent them to Jeremy, who was part of the Ensley, who's part of the group. But Jeremy decided to put it through AI and correct what I'd put in my text, so it's a little bit different, though he said it still is compiled by Mark Priest, but that's not exactly what you have in the in the packet. I want you to notice at the meeting on March 19th, the attendees were Abby Kobe, Brady Colson, Jeremy Ensley, Angela McConville, and myself. This is a transportation work group. You'll notice that the City of Iowa City's Director of Transportation is not included in that. I spent about 45 minutes on the phone with her this afternoon. Her name is Darian Nagel Gamm. Gamm spelled Gamm, hyphenated otherwise. So Darian knew all of these people. She'd been invited to the transportation group meetings before, but had declined to come. However, when I asked her, was she invited to this meeting, though she was not, she did know all of these participants and would have eagerly been involved had she been alerted to it and invited. I don't know why she wasn't, but so that was unfortunate. The other thing in your packet is the letter from the Transportation Work Group that is signed by the Transportation Work Group. However, nobody in the Transportation Work Group ever saw this letter before tonight. And again, that was one of these AI generated things, which Jeremy independently did. It's for that reason that I'm going to step away from the Transportation Work Group effective now. It's simply an ethical matter for me. And I think that Darian has to be included in the future. That came off easier than it was to put it together in my head.
Well, we certainly appreciate the work you've done with this.
And Emily wasn't able to be there. I understand she had a family commitment, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really felt like with those kind of powerful people at the table, I started taking notes. I thought we have to have some kind of documentation about what we did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we learned a lot. And some of the topics in the letter and in my notes were things that Darian knows about and is concerned about, but she's very fluent on what's a city grant, a county grant, a state grant, and a federal grant, where the dollars come from. Mm-hmm. And to put something in the 27 fiscal year budget at this hour is nearly impossible. That they start putting the budget together this time last year, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. So you're not recommending that we make any recommendations to City Council?
no.
No. Okay. Right.
Although Darian is aware of the packet. And I said, I can get Stephanie to send you the packet. And she said, I know how to find the packet. So she'll be fluent in what was in the letter.
Okay.
Thank
Other
you.
discussion or input from commissioners on this?
Mark, I really respect your decision and your reasons for why that you shared with us too. I am sorry that that was the experience that happened. I think that particularly in this time, it's really important that we find ways of being inclusive in our groups and in our conversations and in our ways of working. And it sounds like that broke down in this instance.
Yeah.
This probably isn't the right venue to talk more about it, but I just wanted to recognize that because I think particularly now we do need to have that muscle memory of how we work together, what it means to include even voices that disagree, and then how we can find ways forward.
I'm also increasingly cognizant of what AI does, because we saw last year with the grant applications that we were reading some AI stuff.
Yeah.
It really is slick. And the director of AI education at Kirkwood, she made a presentation at a meeting I was at 2 weeks ago. She uses AI to do the brackets in March Madness.
Mm-hmm.
She does very well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a technology around us. I think technology can be neutral in many ways, but I think too, like particularly, I'll be interested where we can, in our human rights focused work, still prioritize the human inclusion in the decision-making process. And that to me is what I hear in your case broke down. Mm-hmm. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have reports from any of the other work groups, immigration, community outreach, or housing?
I do, but I need a second. So go ahead if you want.
Okay. The housing work group is still trying to find a time to meet. I expect that should be accomplished hopefully this week. That's the report on the housing.
All right.
Yeah, short and sweet.
All right. Any others? Yeah, Kelsey. Okay.
It's very hard to make my way through tabs on Google Docs with on phone. So I'm just going to go by memory here. Sorry if I forget anything, but on the updates related to the work group on community outreach, our group was not able to meet. We did try. Scheduling was just increasingly difficult, which is probably why we're all even on a rescheduled meeting here tonight, right? But I will share, and also with my working group members too, that I have had several conversations about some trainings that could come to Iowa City, really along the lines of what I was just talking about, related to how we might have some muscle memory, how we might practice conflict resolution and in communication and interpersonal action, and also how we might, as a community, learn about the trainings that are ongoing around the country related to resisting political violence, and particularly in a highly polarized moment. So I continue to have those conversations. It sounds really promising. I'm actually excited with some of the things that we could possibly have here in this community. So I'm working on it, but nothing definitive yet. And I'll keep, especially my working group, updated as we move forward. But I hope that by the next meeting, we'll have something more specific that we can consider too. Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, for the immigration one, I haven't gotten a chance to meet with Commissioner Roger and speak to him to see, what's next or what we could, do about it. So hopefully can arrange something in the near future, and then we'll update you. Thank you.
All right. Agenda item 12, explore professional development opportunities. The one thing I just wanted to ask here, Stephanie, on the changes to the new state law that affect city commissions, and if there is an opportunity to learn more about the impact of that. And
Yeah, so I think we're still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
We actually have some programming scheduled for this. And so I should have more information for you, hopefully by the.
okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Okay.
I like these opportunities that are in our packet, though, that we can
For sure. Yeah.
get smart.
hmm Yeah, I like, and one of the things I really appreciate is getting those event notifications and knowing all the great things that are happening around the community that, that either we can participate in or that we have funded. And yeah.
I will just add that we have representation from Greater IC tonight. And that's the kind of thing too, that if you ever have events that you want to put on our agenda, or even that you want to share in the community, like that are related to human rights, please do let us know. And then we can consider them in moments like this as well.
Excellent. Okay, that brings us then to staff and commissioner member updates. Stephanie, any staff updates?
Susanna was on, and then I don't know, I told her or asked her to accept the panelist, and she didn't, so I don't know.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
You get to meet her before the meeting adjourns. The only question I have is somehow I did not, for number 4, for approval of the meeting minutes. Looks like she's coming up now. For January 22nd and March 3rd, I just missed 2.
Mark moved and I seconded.
Yep.
Mark always does that.
You're just ready to go.
Well, I'm retired and I can read the stuff.
All right. Anything else? For both dates, yeah, we approve those together. Yeah.
Susanna, can you hear us?
She's muted.
I thought the dot was her trying to connect.
Yes, I
Jeez.
can hear you.
Hey,
Okay,
everybody.
Different setup today, so I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Welcome aboard.
Hello.
you.
Great.
Hello.
Great. So, yeah, we'll welcome our new commissioner with just some brief introductions. Susanna, we'll all kind of introduce ourselves to you, and then we'd love to hear more about you. Okay. My name is Doug Kolash. I'm the chair of the Human Rights Commission. I've been on the commission for about 4 years. I've lived in Iowa. Well, I went to school here in my undergrad. I have an MBA from the University of Iowa as well. After graduation, I taught Spanish in Cedar Rapids for a few years, then moved to Madison, Wisconsin to work for a software company. Lived there for 10 years and then moved back to Iowa about 5 years ago. 2 kids who go to West High. One is a senior, one's a junior. And in my day job, I am a consultant. I work with hospitals and healthcare organizations on their electronic medical records. Great to meet you and welcome aboard. All right. And then
Nice to meet you.
we'll go to our vice chairs, Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily Harkin. I'm the vice chair. I've been here on the commission for about, I think, 2 years. And then I've been in Iowa City for about 5, ever since I started here in undergrad, graduated in undergrad 2024, and just been a resident since. Currently working in the legal field. But before my current position, I've worked at a couple and volunteered at a couple nonprofits around here, and it's what drew me to the commission. And I'm happy to be here today.
Okay. Susanna, it's a real pleasure to meet you. My name's Kelsey Paul Shantz. I've been on the commission for the last few years, and really am committed as a community member within Iowa City to how we can protect the rights of all individuals, particularly those that are marginalized based on their identities. In my day job, I work on the prevention of mass violence and atrocities, particularly identity-based mass violence, and what cities and communities around the world are doing to protect the rights of all individuals.
My name's Mark Priest. I think I'm in my 7th year on the commission. I'm looking at the director. Maybe not that long. 5th.
You served a few years and then you were off and then you served.
Anyway, Suzanne, I'm back. And I'm a retired Christian pastor. I did that for a long time. 50 years.
Wow.
Now I think of myself as a public theologian. So when I watch the news, I wonder about it theologically, from a Christian perspective. I have some wonderful friends like Viana Kadora next to me, who is Islamic and has taught me a lot. And Rachel, Rabbi Esther Hugenholtz is Jewish. So they've taught me a lot about the Abrahamic faith, and gives me bigger, brighter eyes. So I'm learning all the time. I love being on this commission. The hospitality is great, and I'm learning a lot from Stephanie. Glad you're here.
Hey, Susan, welcome to the commission. My name is Viana Kadura. I got reappointed to fill a new term in the commission. It's a great experience being here. It's, people like me, a Muslim, Palestinian, American who lives in here for the past almost 30 years in America. I do represent, a big chunk of marginalized people who needed people like me to be out in the open and to make, Johnson County more inclusive, to include people like us. I'm a mother of 6 children. I graduated from the University of Iowa, majoring in human relations. And I've been doing lots of advocacy for our Muslim youth since 2018, very active in the community, and we're trying to get involved in serving the community in any way that's possible. And it's great being here in the commission again. And I think we're doing a great job, and we're welcoming you. Looking forward to meet you in person too. Thank you.
All right, great. All right, Susanna, you want to introduce yourself?
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So my name is Susana Rodriguez. I'm a native Iowa Cityan citizen, born and raised I left Iowa City and was away for about 10 years, living in Chicago, and I worked in theater there. My work how I've made money has always been in hospitality. So restaurants, theater, and in high school, I worked at what's now the Graduate Hotel. But currently, I've made a change in my career, and I work for the Institute for International Business in Tempe, the business college, and I have a great time working with those folks, people from all over the world. A lot of inspiring entrepreneurs. And I did some organizing work when I lived in Chicago with LGBTQ folks. And then in the workplace, I started some ERG in the theater where I worked, the Second City Comedy Theater. And currently I just spend my time, I teach yoga at Public Space One, and I moved back here when my daughter was almost 3, and she's now almost 8. So I moved back here in 2021. During the pandemic, it was important to be close to family, and I am committed to this community. I was raised here. I was part of the First Mennonite Church growing up, and went to the IMS, which is now Hillcrest Academy, for a few years, and then came back to Iowa City and graduated from City High. And my daughter is Jewish, so we have spent a lot of time at the synagogue, and we brought up Rabbi Esther. I'm familiar with her, and I think she's really great. Yeah.
Great.
Me questions. I don't know what else to say.
All right.
You did pretty
Fantastic.
well with no
Yeah,
notes.
Thank you. Yeah. Great. Well, it's great to have you aboard. Welcome to the Human Rights Commission. All right. Anyone have any updates that they want to share? Since we kind of already went around, don't necessarily need to do that again, but if anyone has anything to share, we'll open that up. Kelsey.
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, first, Susanna, I wanted to welcome you to take a look at the work groups that we talked about tonight, including transportation, access, quality of life, immigration, ordinance revisions, community outreach, and housing. Ideally, we don't have more than 3 per group, but please take a look. And I think would love to know your interest in that. I'm sure Stephanie will be in touch in that too. But I did also want to mention a couple of events that weren't in our packet but are coming up in our community in case anyone is interested or has not yet heard about them. But the Iowa City Foreign Relations Committee, Council, excuse me. So many councils, commissions. Sorry about that. The Iowa City Foreign Relations Council is holding a series of events this spring, and I think it's of particular interest to the Human Rights Commission. The next one is this Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the Iowa City Public Library on hopes and fears, why journalism remains essential in time of global democratic erosion. That will prove to be, I think, a really important conversation. On April 16th at 6 p.m., also at the Public Library in Iowa City, the topic is worker resilience from examples from South Africa's mines and Iowa's farms, including fields and meat packing plants. And then finally on, just in this series, I should say finally, on May 7th at 6:30 p.m. at the Englert, there will be a conversation about how oligarchs dominate our democracy. These conversations are meant to not just be something that you can sit and listen to, but also that community members can engage in, and that can spark some important dialogue, I think, too, across the community. I've had the privilege of being on the programs committee for ICFRC, which is especially why I should know the full name of it. But I'll make sure to share the flyers with Stephanie, too, so that she can maybe forward them on to everybody in case you're interested in that. And then lastly, I will say, at the end of February, I had the privilege of presenting on behalf of the Peace in Our Cities Network, which I'm a co-facilitating partner of through my day job, at the annual retreat for the United Cities and Local Governments Network. This is a global, massive network of cities that are all involved in issues beyond violence prevention, but also thinking about how we can have policies that support the well-being and sustainability of our communities around the world. And it was quite interesting to hear about their efforts, because they are working towards setting an agenda for post-2030. So if you've been following the Sustainable Development Goals, they will expire in 2030. And if you've been following our progress to meeting all 17 goals, it is mixed, and there's a lot further to go. And so where cities play a role in that, I think, is huge, and I think it's underrepresented. And so it was very exciting to hear how they see how cities should be informing the agenda with a seat at the table in the negotiations for a post-2030 agenda. Just wanted to share that with you all.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Other commissioner updates? Yeah.
Yes. So as I just mentioned earlier, that I do lots of advocacy for our youth, and February been a busy month for us. With February 1st marks the World Hijab Day events and proclamations. And we have proven that we need lots of work to be done in Johnson County, because I think, what we received, we received lots of love, lots of care, lots of support, but at the same time, we see that we still need lots of work to do to open the minds and hearts of people, to humanize us and to see us as who we are, as just human beings who just part of this, community. We're all intertwined and we're all together in this. So our youth, I'm so proud of our youth. Most of them, they volunteered to come and talk to city councils, and it was just heartwarming to see them advocating for themselves and for the younger ones who are already being bullied in school just for the choices of the attire that they've been wearing. So that just, makes all the work worth it. We continue the work and we're going to keep going. So April is another thing that we're doing. April is a month that marks the National Arab American Heritage Month. So it was recognized by former President Biden in 2022 as formally a national month to commemorate and the contributions, the efforts, the advancements that the Arabs have led this country to. So usually the events around this month, it goes to educate people, to open doors for dialogue, just to be together, just to chat with an Arab, an American. The Arabs have been here in early 19th centuries, and they have profound, impact on the advancement in this country. So we are holding an event at the Coralville Public Library on April 14th. It is a Tuesday, so I know most of you are going to be working, but if you get a chance to, please stop by. It's going to be from 10 to 12 p.m. at the Coralville Library Cafe. So we did it last year with a collaboration with the Coralville Library, where we displayed lots of tables from, so we have 22 Arabic countries in the world, and we tried to fit as many countries as we could. So we did 8 countries last year, and we're aiming to do the same thing this year as well. So please, just stop by even for a snack or just a quick chat or something. We look forward to see all of you. So thank you.
Great. Other updates? Okay. All right. With that, we can have a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn. I got you this time.
Second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.